I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Dr. Lisa Cameron MP. Thank you so much, Lisa, for taking the time out to come and speak with us this evening. Dr. Lisa Cameron MP is a member of Parliament for East Kilbride, Strathavan and Lesmahagow. I hope I said that properly. She chairs the All-Parliamentary Group for Crypto and Digital Assets, and which is a forum for parliamentarians to discuss the challenges and opportunities within the crypto sector. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great to be here in Glasgow. I've got my iron brew and we've got the rain, so I feel very much at home. How did I end up in this sector? Wow, it was very much by accident in a way, because just a few years ago, one of my constituents who had been engaging in the sector had lost some money and contacted me to say, could you find out, Lisa, who is doing the work in the UK Parliament on cryptocurrency, and how do I get redress for the finances that I've lost? And this was something that I didn't have much involvement in. My background is psychology, it's not fintech. I'm actually the first psychologist in the Parliament, so the good people of East Kilbride thought that Westminster needed a psychologist, and that's how I ended up being elected, I'm sure. So he had contacted me and I said, well, yes, I'll find out who is doing the work in the Parliament. We went off to have a look, and at that point, only really about 24 months ago, there hadn't been any debates in the House of Commons on this subject. There had been one debate in the House of Lords. There were very few questions to government, and yet, you know, there was so much happening in the sector. So I asked my researcher, Roberta, it was a rug pull scam, I now know that my constituent had experienced, but is this something unusual, or is this something that, you know, are many people engaged in the sector? She came back and said, you know, the research suggests that even at this point in time, now it's much higher now, but at that point in time, over 4 million people in the UK had some engagement with the cryptocurrency sector, and yet we were not discussing it in the Parliament. So we started off with what's called an all-party parliamentary group for people who don't have a background in Parliament. It's a cross-party group of all people from all different parties, and also from the House of Commons and the House of Lords, with a special interest in cryptocurrency and digital assets. And really the first 12 months we were educating ourselves. So we had members of Parliament from all different parties, members of the House of Lords, in rooms like this. We had people come in from industry to speak to us. At the start, we had such a huge learning curve. Sorry for anyone who's already heard this, but it is quite interesting to think about how far we've come. So, you know, at the start, we'd have people come in, they were talking about fiat, and you know you have your own language in this sector, so they'd be talking about fiat and various different things. And I'd have members of the House of Lords say to me, why are we talking about cars? Is this not about currency? So we really had to upskill ourselves, to bring ourselves, you know, I don't even think we're at level yet with what's happening in the population. You have such a fast-moving, dynamic sector. We're always playing catch-up, but we really had 12 months of education in the Parliament to even begin to understand it. I would say your sector doesn't, you know, do yourselves much justice at times, because often I was hearing this is like the Wild West. There, you know, we shouldn't be bothering about this. We don't need to do this in the UK. But then we would always go back to the first principle that actually there are millions of people engaged in it already. So we do need to have regulation, we need to have clarity, we need to have consumer protection, which is at the core of what we wanted to do in the Parliament. But then also, having started from what I would say is a kind of crypto skeptic point of view, we went as a parliamentary group to Zug and met with legislators there and found out a bit about what they were doing there. And they were saying to me, this is really massive. The blockchain technology behind all of this work that's ongoing is like the next sort of industrial revolution in a way. So you have to, get up to speed with it. You have to think of it not just either about fintech. The blockchain technology can affect health, data. It can affect, we can make massive progress in terms of UK aid, making sure that payments can get to the recipient without going through lots of different intermediaries to make the most of our UK aid. There's just huge potential, and you need to start thinking about it in terms of, yes, it sits, mainly in Treasury with the work you're doing, but also think about education, think about business, entrepreneurship, think about, health, think about all of these different sectors and how this technological advancement is going to change and shape people's lives. So I started off from this one constituency issue to, I felt like opening this box of like huge potential and just excitement of being on the cusp of pretty much a digital revolution that we're all, embracing now. And when our group started, we completed the first cross-party and cross-House of Lords and House of Commons inquiry report, and government's taken forward lots of our recommendations, we're pleased to say. We've had a number of debates in the Parliament. I've had a debate about the inquiry report, which was well received. I've also had a debate about regulation more broadly. My next debate is going to be looking at digital innovation and jobs, careers of the future, because I think we really need to do a piece collaboratively together, looking at, are we teaching young people the right skills? Are we shaping them for these future jobs, which will be quite different to when, I was learning. I mean, my mum said, you either want to be a doctor. She never said, want to be a politician, by the way. That's she said, you either want to be a doctor or a lawyer, Lisa. You don't, that's a job for life. I don't think there's going to be jobs for life now, These things are shifting. But we need to give our young people, and actually people who are already in careers who want to diversify into others, the skills to do that, so that we can have what the Prime Minister has described as the UK being a hub of cryptocurrency development moving forward. So we're working with government to really try to support and develop those aims in a very consensual cross-party basis. I know in the US, I spoke to some people this week at a different event I was at. In the US, it's become quite partisan, but we're trying very, very hard to make our work very cross-party, very consensual, because, we will be in an election cycle next year, and we don't want to be taking steps back from what's been achieved already. We need to continue this work. We only have a window of opportunity. I was speaking to colleagues from the EU this week as well, and Mika's on stream was looking at the venture capital investment from PitchBook report, suggesting that a lot of investment's now going to the EU from the UK and from the US, because there's clarity there in a regulatory manner. So we need to make sure that we make the most of the next 12 months. You need to stay in touch with me and join the workings of the group. You're very welcome. It's your parliament as much as it is ours, and we need your engagement. So my main message is really about collaboration and keeping in touch and making sure that we're able to deal with some of the issues that face the sector and the industry, such as we've been raising issues about access to bank accounts for companies. We can't be a hub if companies can't open bank accounts. How is that possible? We have some good engagement with FCA in terms of streamlining the process for licensing, etc. And at one of the other events I spoke at earlier this week, the FCA were saying that they really are putting more resources into this sector. So we're really trying to get ourselves ahead of the curve here. But it's such an exciting time. I was asked to speak a bit about education. Following from starting up our own all-party parliamentary group, which was the first looking at cryptocurrency in the Parliament. A few others have started sort of offshoots in a sense, and I'm vice chair of the Metaverse and AI all-party group as well. And I think all of this technological change We have a digital generation who are growing up. I have 2 children who are very au fait with it, much more so than me. And we had the Children's Parliament come in to speak to us. So the kids were there from, like age roughly around about 8 right up to 16. And we were asking them, one of the questions was, we were sitting there, members of the Parliament, members of the House of Lords were there, the children from the Children's Parliament. And one of the questions was, put your hands up if you understand the metaverse and AI. All the children, of course, put their hands up. Not very many MPs, not very many members of the House of Lords. So I feel that we owe it to this generation to work together to take this forward. And I'm very mindful that I'm in Glasgow. I don't want it to be something that just happens in London, which is why I wanted to make the special effort to be here, because I'm from here, I'm from East Kilbride down the road. I want it to be levelled up right across the UK in terms of opportunities for people. And that's why I think it's just really important to reach out to your sector to say that we're here to support you. We're here to address any of the issues that you have, but we can only do that if you engage and collaborate. Because what I want to do is to help in a cross-party way that government does reach this goal, where we are a hub. We've got many pieces of legislation and different aspects of the work we're doing moving forward in terms of the central bank digital currency piece, the financial services and marketing bill. We've had the FinProm stuff come through as well. So we want to be making the legislation pragmatic. We need to be very flexible. We know that the EU have a first mover advantage in that sense, but the UK often is not first mover, and it can offer us some advantage in terms of being very flexible, nimble, doing what works, but also making improvements on other jurisdictions' work. So for the next 12 months in the run up to the election, we're going to be helping support this regulation moving forward in a timely way, and we're also going to be continuing our engagement with business and with those entrepreneurs, innovators that we want to see come to the UK, stay in the UK and start up and scale up here. And we're also going to be looking at international best practice as well to make sure that we can harness and collaborate with others, because this is a global market as well. So there's going to have to be a lot of work done at a very high level with governments across G7, etc., and wider, much wider than that, looking at interoperability issues, looking at safety and security. And back to my constituent, I have to thank him. We need to continue to work with people who have had negative experiences, and I'll always have this at the core of the work I'm doing in the Parliament. But he's also opened this Pandora's box of a whole new world to not just me, but many MPs in the Parliament, so that we can begin to engage and help to shape the future, which is happening already. Beneath our feet, and we just have to get ourselves in a position in the UK when we can demonstrate leadership, continue to do this work together. And I know with the amazing people that I've met here today, and also in many of the other events that I've spoken at in other parts of the UK, that we have the talent here. We want to keep you here, and we want to make sure that this sector is thriving and it's successful. And I think we're very much collaborating together to work in a very positive way towards what I foresee as a digital Britain. And that's where I want to leave it today. Thank you.